It's been way too long. So welcome back to Dark Side of the Mic. It's been 2 or 3 weeks, and I thought today we'd look at a couple of mics that I think sound the same, that imaginatively titled segment we came up with a couple of weeks ago. So in one corner we have the Shure SM7B, and in the other we have the Aston Starlight in hybrid mode. Now, in many ways, these two mics are the polar opposites of each other. One needs an absolute ton of gain, one doesn't. One is a dynamic mic, and another is a small diaphragm condenser. So how on earth could they possibly sound similar to each other? And this was something I just came across purely by accident when I was doing some other comparisons, and I was running through the recordings of the modes on the Starlight. And when I got to the hybrid mode, I was really quite taken aback in terms of how it sounded. And at this point, if you're not aware of the Starlight and what it does, I'll just explain that quickly. Essentially, it's a small diaphragm condenser mic that has 3 voice settings that are selectable via a switch on the mic itself. So it has a modern setting, a vintage setting, and a hybrid setting. And the hybrid setting is pretty much the darkest. It's like the flattest frequency response, more or less rolled off in the high end. So similar to the SM7B in that sense. Meanwhile, the modern voicing setting is much more modern in nature. It has about a 5 dB presence boost in the treble and air frequencies. The vintage mode is somewhere in between. It's a much milder presence boost, and that happens to be my favourite one. But as far as the Prince of Darkness, the hybrid mode is the one we're talking about today. So just a little bit on how we're recording today. We're recording both mics into my Antelope Audio Zen Go. So we have the Shure SM7B up at 60 dB of gain, and the Zen Go goes up to 65, so not quite maxed out. And we have the Starlight down at 33 dB of gain, so a massive difference in the amount of gain each mic needs in order to get the equivalent level into the system. And in terms of recording positions, I'm about 2 inches off the SM7B, kind of where you should be. But the Starlight is a little bit further back. It's maybe about 4 or 5 inches with a pop filter in front of it. Obviously, the Starlight being designed as an instrument mic, you need a pop filter because plosive protection is, non-existent on that mic. So this is pretty much a real-world use case scenario on how I would use these mics for spoken word. Now, I'm recording at the moment in the evening and the room is fairly quiet, so we'll do a couple of seconds of noise floor on each of them. So firstly, this is the Shure SM7B. And this is the Aston Starlight. Okay, so what do you think? As I said at the outset, I think these mics do really sound very similar to each other. I would love to see Aston come out with a broadcast style or a voice orientated version of the Starlight, as I think that would get round the issues with plosive protection and make it much more usable for podcasts, especially when you're dealing with lots of different voices. So what do you think? Would you use the hybrid mode in place of the SM7B or combine it with some other SM7Bs in a podcast setup? Is that something you would want to try? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, hopefully a bit sooner next time, we'll see you then.